Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Deep Ball, Keenan, Curran, Samuel Akem. We got a very, very special guest, another Bobcat on the show, and it's Lance Mccutcheon, formerly of Montana State, and he was in the NFL for a little bit. He now is retired. How you been doing, brother?
I've been good, man. Really just enjoying, fresh retirement and, being a husband, being a father, hanging out at home.
Yeah, man. So, when you officially decided to retire, what emotions hit you first? Like, what? Well, first off, take us down the line of what led you to the retirement, and then talk about the emotions that kind of came over you when you made that decision.
Yeah, so I'll just give a little background about like my career. So started out with the
Hmm.
Rams in 22, make active, get brought back, get cut going into my second year, get picked up by Houston, couple weeks there, get released on some numbers, finish out my second year with the Jets, get brought back, get cut after camp. Pittsburgh signed me for a couple weeks and then finished out the season in Tennessee this last year. So really what happened was so like I said, I got to Pittsburgh. So going into my third year, I got released by the Jets and was didn't hear anything the first 6 weeks. Had two workouts. Yeah, didn't sign during those. Was there with the Steelers from week 6 to week 10. They cut me week 10, and I didn't hear anything for 8 weeks in the rest of the season. So I initially thought I was done there. And so then I felt whatever, just gonna hang on. Pittsburgh, we were still living in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had the playoff game. They ended up losing. They called me the next day, offered me the future. So I'm like, cool, at least I got a shot for camp. They
Absolutely.
signed me week 1, cut me week 2, and then I actually go to Tennessee for a workout week 3. Don't sign anyone, and then I heard back from them week 8, and then I finished out the season with them. So for me, I guess really to get into your question, what led me to the retirement was after my third year, I thought I was done.
Yeah.
And I felt very lucky and, fortunate that Pittsburgh offered that future. So for me, it was another camp, and that gave me, ultimately that shot to finish out in Tennessee. So when Tennessee didn't, offer me the futures or re-sign me or anything, and that was really the only team that called last year. So I kind of knew, what was up. And at the end of the day, I kind of wanted to leave this game on my terms, so I feel like I did
Yeah.
that. And yeah, you know what? I'm very content and I'm happy with the decision, honestly.
Did you
Absolutely,
think?
man.
Did you think about any like CFL, UFL, anything like that?
So I told myself before I even like was, traveling around all these teams that I wasn't gonna hop down. I
Yeah.
was gonna stay in the NFL for as long as I could, and if I, couldn't stay in there, then I was done.
Absolutely.
Man, that's not, and it's nice to kind of, like you said, go out on your terms and realize, hey, I've realized my dream, right? Like I am at the level that I wanted to play at. And I'd imagine in those weeks that you were not on a team, not knowing if you were going to get signed, you do start to think about what's life like after this, right? So, kind of,
Exactly.
did you do any planning in those weeks? Because you had like various times where there were maybe a gap. What did your thoughts go to? And I know you're fresh off retirement. Like, do you have something in mind that you're like, hey, this is kind of next step for me? Or are you more so, hey, I just want to take some time off and relax and
So,
spend time with the fam?
honestly, I didn't like make the decision to retire with a job in line. It was kind of like, hey, I've been very real with myself as far as this process goes. I know how it works. I'd be going into my fifth year, so I'm no dummy to this process. So, once the phone wasn't ringing, I kind of already was like, this might be it. And then moving back here to Bozeman, I'm actually back in Bozeman now. So moving back here beginning of January and still hadn't had any phone calls. There's a couple signings and whatnot, and people are putting out their teams are putting out their updated roster, who they
Yeah.
brought in on futures, who they're gonna have along for camp. And I feel like mostly every team was pretty much releasing their updated roster, and my phone wasn't ringing. So it was kind of like, you know what? I've enjoyed my time, so I think this is it.
Absolutely, man.
Man, so looking back on your career, we're gonna get into all of it, but I want to go to one specific memory. You'll tell us what this memory is, but what's one memory from your career that fans probably don't know about, but means a lot to you now, now that you're retired?
Dang. Um, Man, I would say just making it, man, honestly. Like I know
Yeah.
that's a big memory, but like if you kind of you know my career and know my story, I've always said I was never supposed to make it to the NFL. So, there's so many great memories on different teams and different cities to really like narrow it down to one. But it's just like for me, just making it,
Yeah.
just being able to live out my dream and to be teammates with some of these guys I grew up watching. Like to me, that was everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a really good feeling, man. And I guess on that, like, what do you feel like was your thing? What made you make it, right? And you said you didn't think that you were supposed to be there, or you weren't like people didn't project you there, but you know what you do really well, and what was it that kept you there?
I'll say off the bat, it was my work ethic. I'm gonna come in and work day in and day out, and I really grinded in that playbook, and I had to learn five of them. And if you want to stick around and hopefully get that shot, whether you're on practice squad or not, you gotta, show that you know the plays and that you're willing to learn it, even though you just got here, week 8. So I would say one was my work ethic, but then I feel like, just my whole career, I kind of been a deep ball guy. I throw that ball up and I'm gonna come down with it. So I feel like I brought that to the team and was able to showcase that a little bit my first year with the Rams in that preseason games. But yeah, I would probably say those two.
There you go,
So
deep ball pod, baby.
so you talk about your work ethic and take us back to the Montana State days, because obviously if you look back at your career, you talk about it like you didn't really go off until that 2021 season. So what kept you locked in? What kept you dedicated to that work ethic and to working hard and trusting that, hey, one day at this school I'm going to get my opportunity? What kept you around? Because at that time too, the transfer portal was a thing too. So what kept you in Bozeman, not transferring away and trusting the process once Vegan finally got there?
I mean, it was MSU. It was home for me. This is my hometown school. Was around a great group of guys, great group of coaches, and just I feel like at MSU initially the portal wasn't that big of a thing. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it was kind of rare and almost like weird if guys were hitting the portal. So for one, I feel like I was never ever going to hit the portal, in all honesty. Whether I played or not, I think I was going to stick around for the 4 or 5 years I was there.
Yeah.
But it was just Coach Choate had always told us, what's done in the dark will come to light, and you might not have your time now. You might grind, sit on the bench, do the dirty work for 3 or 4 years, but you got to be ready when your number's called. And my number was called, luckily that 21 season. So
And
That's
that's kind
dope.
of interesting that through that process, because at that point you guys had Vegan, but you're still thinking back to something that Coach Choate had said, and I think that kind of highlights just how instrumental Coach Choate was for a lot of those guys who were in the early Vegan days. Talk a little bit about that. What kind of influence did Coach Choate have on a lot of those guys who were on that first Coach Vegan staff? What did that look like?
I mean, he came in and changed the program around, I mean, historically, Montana has always whooped up on, Montana State, and the record shows it. And like I said, being from here and, not necessarily having a side in the rivalry, but just watching the games every year, the Grizzlies are always coming out on top. So for him to come in and we get our first win over in your guys' place and however many years it was, and the following year was even longer winning in Bozeman. So
Yeah.
I would just say he came in and completely changed the program around for the better, the culture, just everything he was asking for us, day in and day out was kind of the reason why. And for me, regardless who came in, it was my last year. I was gonna do what I could for the team. And like I said, regardless of who the coach was, I was gonna do what I could in that 21 season.
For sure.
So I got an interesting stat, and you may know the stat, you may not know the stat, and then I have a question off of it.
All right.
So, being that you are a Bozeman High School guy, do you know that you being in the NFL puts Bozeman High School with the most guys to make it to the NFL in the state of Bozeman, right? Of all,
State of
you were
Shit,
number
Montana.
I
eight.
didn't know that.
You were number 8, right? Then we got Brock Coyle. We got Will Disley. There's a whole list of them. I can't.
Dane Fletcher,
Dame Fletcher. There's an
Shane
old
Collins.
He
old gold
knows them.
guy. Yeah. So history is rich with you guys, which is good. I've heard about Bozeman Hawks, baby. But did you always want to go to Montana State? Like, was there kind of that pipeline? I know Brock went to UM, but Will, obviously UW. But was there any sort of like, hey, I want to go here because it's hometown?
Bro, so this is crazy. Going into my senior year of high school, I was playing AAU ball, with the Montana Select basketball team,
Yeah.
and we went on like a month long like travel trip. where we were in Seattle for a couple days and then going to Vegas and then Anaheim and then back to Vegas. And I'd actually called my mom and I told her I wasn't playing football because those first 3 years, I was a bit of a bench warmer or whatever. I got to
Yeah.
play. My first start in my junior season was in the championship game. So
Wow.
like, we was just kind of in the background, whatever. And I called my mom and I told her I'm not playing football. And she was like, you're playing, it's your last year, this, and that. Like, it's all your friends, just go out there and do it. And I'm okay, whatever. That summer was Coach Choate's first, camp with MSU.
Yeah.
And he actually had a kid on the team. So he was able to come to camp practices, come to every game, and, get out of his two for scouting.
Yeah.
He could be there for every game. And once my high school head coach, Coach Weshy, came up to me and was like, hey, do you have any interest in playing, D1 football? And I was like, honestly, coach, no, I haven't given that any thought. Well, he's like, this is Coach Choate of Montana State. He really likes you and he's interested in you. And I feel like ever since then, it kind of like clicked for me. I was like, I'm going to play college football. And
So
then
That's
at the
dope.
outside
at
of
the time, at the
yeah,
time, it was really whoever was going to give me more money, honestly,
Yeah.
between
yeah.
UM and MSU.
Yeah.
So how active was Montana in kind of pursuing you?
I mean, they talked to me my whole senior season. They gave
Yeah.
me a preferred walk on. MSU at the time gave me a 25%,
Okay,
and I took the 25%.
Must have been
that's cool,
I see Mike Farrader, huh? Mike
man.
Farrader, maybe Bob
It
Stick, because
was
it was
I don't remember his name, but it was the D-line coach.
Hendricks, Coach Hendricks.
Germer.
Yes,
Was it
yes.
Germer?
Oh,
No, he
Germer,
was
the O
online.
line coach. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it
he
was
probably
Germer. It was
had
for show Germer.
yeah.
Mm.
Man, that's crazy. You would have fit
So
in our room.
what
It
about
was cool.
basketball? Did you have any offers in basketball? Was there any looks in basketball?
No, not really, honestly. I thought I could get one. If I wasn't going to play in football, I thought I was definitely going to get one if I took all of football season for basketball.
Yeah.
Obviously, the basketball season, I thought something would come up, but I'm telling you, ever since my high school coach was like, "Hey, MSU coach likes you," it was like, "Okay, I'm going to play football."
You get
Man, and
that
that's
little
that's how it
taste.
that's how it works, bro. I tell you, I remember it was my sophomore year, and I was always a hard worker, and I had a work ethic. And one of my high school coaches, came up to me and he said, "Hey, man, if you work hard, you can go far in this game." And I remember before then, no coach had ever really believed in me like that. Nobody had ever really put that confidence in me. And it's just like, man, you just need to know that somebody believes in you and somebody in a position of power thinks that you can do it, because that's so
Hmm.
empowering for a kid, man. It does so much. So I 100% resonate with that, man.
Bro, so it's crazy you say that. I kind of got the same story. So when Vegan got there, in the spring of 21, we do exit meetings after spring ball, and I sit down with him one on one, and he's like, I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but like the NFL is a realistic goal for you. And just
Wow.
to sit down with a new head coach, bro, I've known him for, 3 months, 4 months.
Yep.
And for him to, he came from North Dakota State, winning all them
Yeah.
championships, Coach Josh Allen. So for him to sit down and look me in my eyes and be like, you can play at the next level, like that was everything, bro. So like to hear you say that, you had a coach say that, I got the exact same story. So like I owe a lot of credit to the coach Vegan in that 21 season.
Man,
That's
that goes
special.
isn't our that goes into one of our questions. I guess apart from that, obviously that seed means a lot for any young athlete, right? Having
Yeah.
someone plant the seed in them that hey, you can yeah, pause. Okay, that's the BS that we be talking about. But having a coach encourage you like that, was there another coach at Montana State that you felt like had a huge impact kind of on your development as a receiver?
Yeah, I got to give credit to Matt Miller. He's a Montana kid. He played at Helena Capital,
Yeah.
Boise State record holder.
New
I
OC
got
at
to
Washington
give
State, I
him,
think.
yeah, got to give him some credit. Obviously, Choate, BJ Robertson. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He was our special teams coach. I mean, honestly, any coach that came through Montana State that I was, a part of, honestly.
That's what's
Like
up.
What
I
That's
about
can
Coach
good.
sit
Curran?
here and
Oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, strength coach, of course. He was coming in the first couple years and just working us out and whatnot, and coming in with Dane and the guys from the pit. But then when he got on staff, I mean, he kind of changed our mindset around and kind of put everything for the better. Instead of coming in there, and doing some meathead lists and loading up the bar and
Yeah.
doing all that, he came in. He's like, we're gonna get strong. We're gonna if you got to drop the weight to do more reps, that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, I mean, I can shout out a couple guys, but honestly, every coach that came through MSU every year, I had 4 or 5 different receiver coaches. So, I gotta give all them credit too.
Yeah, man, that's special. That's special. Um, During that 2021 season that we keep referencing, you guys made it to the national championship. And you were a big part of it. Obviously, that was your breakout season, 1,200 receiving yards, a ton of touchdowns. You were mossing people all over the place. What do you think led to that, like to that push to the national championship that year?
Honestly, COVID. We didn't play in 2020 because of COVID, and I've always said like as horrible as that pandemic was for the entire country and the world and whatnot. Like for us to have a season just to train and focus on us and just to put in another year of work and not lose eligibility, like I've always said, COVID was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
And
man.
like I truly believe I don't think I would have made it this far if I didn't have that like off season in 2020.
Why do you say that?
Man,
Go a little bit more depth in that. Like, why do you what did you do during that offseason that you think led to all the success you saw?
I mean, we didn't have a season, we're
Yeah,
not in there watching film, we're not in there game planning every week. We had an extended fall camp that was probably 6 or so weeks into the season, but like after that, it's school and whatever I want to do. And whatever
yeah,
I want to do was kind of my vision for, supposed to be senior season.
yeah. Do you feel like your body changed during that offseason?
Oh yeah. I mean, again, credit to Coach Sean Heron. He came in around that time, and again, it was an entire fall semester just to better ourselves and get right.
Absolutely.
yeah. So speaking on like kind of that development, I'm going to take you back to your freshman year and then through your senior season. What do you think? What part of your game do you think evolved the most from when you came in, right, as a 25%, scholarship guy to I'm the man, I'm the guy you're going to go to when it's 3rd and 7 and we need a big play. We're going to Lance Mccutcheon.
I think it's being able to get out there and line up on any given play and be able to put your 4 years of coaching into play. Like you're coached on so many, you guys know as receivers,
Yeah,
different releases and your down the field release, your stack and just being able to put all those things together and eliminate the thinking and just line up and go. Like I always say, like I said, 4 years of all of that coaching that I've had, in me to my last year, is being able to play free and play confident. I would say confidence is probably the biggest thing for my 21 season.
man. So one thing we kind of glossed over was you came in on a 25% scholarship. I'm sure you eventually got put on a full ride scholarship. When was
Actually, no,
that?
I did not.
What?
Yeah, bro. So
What? They're getting
I
bargains at MSU. This is
What?
crazy.
I committed on a 25. I signed on 42%,
Yeah.
weird number. Didn't redshirt. Coach Joe put me on 75 after my freshman year.
Okay.
And then going into my senior year, he kind of liked to put all of the seniors on full if he could, but he took that new coaching job and so he left. So when Vegan came in, I feel like I couldn't go to Vegan and be like, "Hey, Choate promised me this. Will you do it for me?"
Damn.
You are a
So
man
like
of integrity.
that's
I'll
just
tell you
that's just who I
that.
am, bro. Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't be like, "Hey, this coach promised this. You're here now. Like you got to give it to me." I couldn't do that.
Yo, Keenan, that actually happened to Maury. So Maury was supposed to get put on full after Stitt, like when Stitt,
That's what he
Maury was
did.
supposed to get put on full, but
That's what he did.
he ended up going to Houck and saying, "Hey, like, yo, this was promised from Stitt." So like,
Hawk's not going for it. Hawk's not going for it.
no, he did
Yeah.
though, he did. He put Maury on full. He
Oh
did.
man,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. That might be the bombshell of this interview because, like, who would think? You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like, with you got a Steelers jersey hanging up right next to you. Who would think, right? And that's the
Yeah, I've
crazy thing
I've
about
always
college
kept like
football.
I don't have any beef with Montana State, like again, I'm
Yeah,
very real with how all of this works. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, maybe I wasn't a full ride guy, but like I kind of kept that on my shoulder, throughout these, 4 years too.
yeah. And you
Yo,
could
that is
argue
wild.
that it led to a more fruitful life having that chip on your shoulder. I'm sure you made up that and some.
Oh yeah. And I mean, being an in-state kid, like tuition ain't that expensive compared to what all you out-of-state
Right,
kids are paying. So like
right.
the only thing I was really paying out of pocket was just books. So like I was on a full minus some books is what I used to say.
Still,
That's
that's
fair.
crazy, bro. What? Boy,
Yeah.
went for
Yeah.
1,200 on a
Optically,
75% scholarship. Come on, what are we talking about?
optically, it is crazy. When you think about like college football nowadays, where kids are getting paid, like optically, it's like, whoa, that's nuts.
I mean, my last year NIL was really just like starting,
I was just about to
and
ask
Yeah.
you, did you get
I
anything?
get after the Eastern Washington game, I want to say week 6 maybe.
Let's see.
Kendall Ford reached out and I got a nice F-150 for the rest of the season.
There we go.
Hey, there
Listen,
we
there we
go.
go. That's
Yeah.
something, right?
I
That
remember
I
that
didn't
Eastern
need
game
any
too.
cash, I got a nice car, so I'll
yeah,
take that.
Yeah, I
that's
remember that
dope.
Eastern game too because you went up top on somebody and took it to the house.
Yeah, that was probably the best game of my career.
Wow, wow.
If Lithia of Missoula is listening, that's how you reward players.
So one thing I want to ask you is, who were some of the teammates that helped push you during your time at Montana State? For example, Dalton Sneed he was my quarterback. He was somebody that like in the weight room, he pushed me to put more weight on the bar. I worked out with him going into my sophomore year, and he was somebody that was always on me like, hey, let's push up the weight, let's push this, let's push this. Who was that for you during your time at Montana State?
I got a couple guys, but I would say one that really stands out is Willie Patterson.
Willie P,
Uh,
FSP, baby. Let's
Willie
go.
P, that's my dog, especially in that time during COVID. He's, let's get on the jug machine, let's get on the ladder, let's go do this, and in the weight room, we're always trying to outlift each other, and
yeah,
Choate was really big on getting, like army guys coming to us, and we would do all these big, team bonding events and whatnot, and competitions out on the field. And so me and Willie always, talk a little mess during that, but at the end of the day, it's all love. We're just competitors, wanting to get better. But I would probably say Willie Patterson, Isaiah Alphonse. He was my
ooh, the
roommate for three
Seattle
years.
guy.
Yeah. And
He
I'd
knows
probably
the
say James
culture.
Campbell.
You know what's funny? I see Willie P almost every morning in the gym because he's still in the gym. He's still playing. But you know who he listed, Sam? A couple FSP guys. And I know you have your FSP experience. Um, Kind of talk about like, did it make sense when you were around Tracy? Like, oh, okay, this is why these guys are like that, right? Like they're kind of just wired a little differently. I did pre-draft there too, and it's Tracy's a unique
It's
guy.
a lot. That off-season training is no joke, bro.
But bro, he will have you tied to say the least, right? Um, so one thing I wanted to talk about, and we talked about it kind of before we got on. During your career, you were 3-1 versus Montana. What was your brawl experience? What was like your brawl experience during your time in college, right? I know you talked about kind of the one, right? But but that was the one where you had the most impact. But kind of what was that like winning three? Like, did you guys have a really good time after the game? What do you think went into
Oh,
that?
of course. So I mean, like I said, being a part of so at the time we had won 4 in a row, and that had never been done.
Yeah.
So my freshman year, like I said, we come in, or you guys come to us, and we hadn't won in Bozeman in years, So to have that momentum from the season before, most of us coming in are all freshmen, and to be able to win at home in front of our home stands, that was an unbelievable feeling. Having everyone rush the field after that. We didn't go to playoffs that year. And I've always told everyone who's not a Montana guy, you could lose every single game, but you win that last game of the season, that's a good season. And so whatever, my freshman year, that was a fun game to, win at home for the first time, whatever. My sophomore year, we got Troy at QB, and that fumble at whatever, the 2 or the 1, whatever it was, man, that was insane.
That game hurts for me and Keenan because me and him both went dumb that game, and it just
Bro.
ended like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I mean, obviously you go back and watch the game, halfway through we're like, man. And then, you know how it goes. You start putting
Yeah.
drives together and you start getting
Yep.
stops on defense, and you started just riding that momentum. Anything can happen, and you know,
Yeah,
ball came up at the 2 yard line and Cash recovered. The rest is history.
sick, still sick.
Sick.
But kudos to you guys, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey. And then the next year was like a blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah, because y'all had a really good season that year too. Because I
Yeah,
remember I was a big fan of Torre.
Yeah. Some more.
Samori.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was a big fan of his that year, and just looking at the roster, I'm like, damn, okay, like this. I don't think it's gonna be the same thing as last year. And to come in and I don't know, again to win two in a row at home, going on what was that, four now?
Yep.
Just to keep adding to the streak that has never been done, to be a part of that history, like that's probably some of the coolest college experiences I have.
I mean, at that point in your career, you're like, man, like y'all lost to these guys. Three. We got this shit easy.
And every year before that game, we have guest speakers come in, former players,
Yeah.
and telling us, like there's not a lot of people in Bobcat history who can say they're 4-0 against the Grizz.
Yeah.
And before going into my senior year, I'm 3-0, and I'm like, oh, I've heard for 3 years now, that not a lot of players go 4-0, and I'm like, man, we're about to do it. But you
Not
guys
so
had,
fast.
yeah, y'all had other feelings in 21.
I don't think you understand, Lance. I needed that game so freaking bad. I wanted, you're 3-1, I'm 1-3. Me and you were lockstep because I redshirted in 16, so 17 was my redshirt. I needed that game like a crackhead needs crack, man. Like I needed it, bro. Like I couldn't. I was so happy. Thank you, Junior. Thank you, Justin Ford. Thank everybody, man. Like, oh my gosh.
Because we have the inverse. We have people coming in saying, yeah, we never lost to the Cats.
Yeah.
So we're like, what? They're like our kind of era of football. They're like, you guys lost to the Cats how many times, right? And then now recently, but we also say this. Me and Sam talked about this with Montana State. It's like, man, you got to be the start of the golden era of Montana State football.
Absolutely.
Right? Like this is the best era. This will be remembered as like, this is by far the best stretch that we ever had. So that's a really cool thing. Do you have a favorite memory from the Cat Grizz rivalry?
Dang, if I'm being honest, I don't think I made. This really hurts to say out loud. I don't think I have like a crazy highlight against y'all. So I don't think I have one for myself. But I mean, I think I got to go to that 2018 game where the fumble recovery.
The miracle in Missoula, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
I never scored a touchdown in Bozeman. I never won a game in Bozeman. So hey, I got some stinkers too.
I did
Some
both.
stinkers.
Yeah. I did do that. I scored in Bozeman and I got a win in Bozeman. So I can say that.
What was your you talked about it a little bit, Eastern Washington. If that's my next question is, what was your most memorable game at Montana State? If it is Eastern, why was that game so memorable for you?
I don't even know if I should say this. I almost didn't play in that game.
Dang.
I failed a test. And so I went the whole week without practicing. I come in the morning, 6 a.m., do whatever I had to do with the trainer, go home. Couldn't go to the night meetings. I found out Friday morning when my test came back saying that I was good to go. So I went the entire week of practice at home and going to school.
That is crazy, but that is
Are we
dope.
talking academics or are we talking?
No. You don't have to dig into that, Sam. Come on, we don't got to dig into that.
I'm sorry. My
Come on, man.
My bad.
Failed the test. He told you he failed the test, right? He had to go to get some extra credit work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So to go the whole week of practice, pretty much thinking that I'm not gonna play against Eastern Washington.
Yeah, right.
In my last year on the red turf, I'm like, damn, I'm not gonna be able to play. Get the call Friday morning, hop on the plane, have the best game of my career.
Bro.
What a release.
Special, bro. Oh my
God.
God.
What a release. So you didn't even know install. I mean, you kind of tried to catch up.
No install, no nothing.
Didn't know nothing, bro.
Just ball player.
Went out there Friday morning for the walkthrough and hopped on the plane.
He said,
So what was that
I love it.
conversation like? What was the conversation like early in the week when they let you know? And then what was the conversation like late in the week? Like what did they tell you? Like you don't have to get too much in, but like what did they tell? Like give us the emotions. What was it? What was it like?
So we had a bye week the week before,
Uh-huh.
and I should have known better that the test was coming by a week.
Absolutely.
I will say, honest to God, I was only doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing on the weekend. We go
Absolutely.
into bye week. I do it Monday. I get the call from the trainer Tuesday,
We know, brother.
and I went in. I went in and told. I went and told Vegan straight up, like, hey, I'm just letting you know. I'm gonna try to do what I can, but I'm just letting you know that there's a high possibility that I'm not gonna
That boy ain't
pass.
gonna be there.
Yeah.
And so he was like, whatever's, do what you got to do, this and that. And I sat out the whole week and came in, was submitting a test every morning, sending it out, and didn't get the results until Friday morning.
Man,
Wow. So
that
it
is
never became
crazy.
public because you played.
Because I got to
But
play.
Yeah.
oh man, that's
That's
crazy.
man, that speaks to like culture, one, right? Or I guess one would be your integrity. Because like a
Yeah.
lot of not a 18 to 22 to 23-year-old kids aren't doing that. They're not going to the coach and saying, hey, I'm just gonna keep it a stack with you, right? So that's one. Two, the culture of like your guys' ability to keep things in house and Coach Vegan not like understanding that you're young, right? And not I wouldn't even say we make mistakes
And he's
because
that
we
boy.
yeah, he's young, but he's young, and I'm not gonna crack the whip and like make it seem like oh you're suspended for the rest of the season like some coaches would do, Sam, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So
Absolutely.
I think that actually makes me respect him more, if
It was
anything.
just like, I was the dude that year. And, at the end of the day, I effed up and I had to own it. And I was just like, yo, coach, I'm just keeping it real with you. This is what's going on.
Then you get to
Man.
the next level and you see like, oh, this is normal. These
Yeah,
guys are doing this all the
it's
time.
normal.
These guys are doing this regularly, bro. Like this, what are we doing, bro? This is
Also,
crazy.
too, at that point, it wasn't necessarily legal in the state. I think that year actually maybe it became legal. Like it was still kind of taboo at that point. Now I
Yeah.
think we've kind of progressed in the state and as a country where it's kind of like, it's not as so people aren't so uptight about it anymore, I don't think.
hmm
Um, man. Well, kudos to you, bro, because that makes the story all that more
That's a great
impressive.
story.
Because that is, well, that's a golden nugget. I love that. So kind of like we talked about going into the season, right? You didn't know that you were going to have this special year. At what point did you kind of? And I know Coach Vegan um,
Put the
believed in you. Believed in you. I'm not gonna say plant the seed,
put the belief
but
in
he
him. Put the
believed.
belief in him.
Yes, but at what point did it become real? Like, hey, I think I can make it. And then, you probably start getting DMs from agents and people
Yeah.
reaching out like, hey, we want you to come train with us. When did that start? And what was that process like for you?
So honestly, I didn't hear from an agent until probably we had the 2 weeks in between the semifinal and the Natty.
Mhm.
Um, Damn, what was I about to say?
When people started reaching out, agents.
Oh, yeah. So the agent had started reaching out after the semifinal game. Really got into contact with him after the Natty. But I would say that when it really started clicking for me was honestly the first game against Wyoming.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've kind of been a bench warmer for 3 years, don't play, new coach into my last year, and to go and play against a bigger school and having the success that I did going against, some better competition, I was like, man, I might be able to really do this year. And then I would just say just on a week to week progression, especially when you get into, conference play. It's like, okay, we can start really, we're doing it. We just got to keep being consistent, do what you can, show up when you need to, and the rest will take care of itself.
Wow.
That's dope. I know you were
Can
giving
you
your DBs hell in practice. I know you were.
absolutely?
Oh, I
Trying
got
that
it.
that extended camp, man, we
Yeah.
were battling every day because
Oh,
that was the only
Yeah.
thing we could get.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just the reps. I love it.
So, you go through kind of the pre-draft process and all that stuff. You end up getting picked up as a UDFA. And I vaguely remember you going off in a preseason game with the Rams, kind of talk about all that. If you want to talk about the draft process, you can talk about that, but also talk about that game where you put yourself on the map. And I think at that point it kind of became real that hey, like this guy's probably going to make the roster. Talk about that whole process of going from college athlete, don't really know if the next level is for me, but agents start to reach out, and then you get signed as a UDFA and all that. Take us through that.
Yeah, so I went out to a FSP, did my pro day training in Seattle. I actually got invited to the PA game, the NFL PA game down in
Yeah.
Anaheim. And so again, being around, a bunch of all-stars for this, talking about some of the best, and going and down and still having success against some of these bigger name guys, bigger school guys. And again, going in this process, I was never ever expecting to get drafted, if I'm being honest. I kind of again, I knew what was up. Really just wanted the shot. And I want to say during during the seventh round, right before the Rams had their last pick, they had the second to last pick in the draft. And before that pick happened, my agent had called and said, "Hey, Rams offered this. If no one else signs you, or if no one drafts you, you're going to LA." And so whatever draft finishes, they submit their last pick. There's still one more pick in the draft. Boom, phone rings. And so it's like, yeah, going to LA, going to be a Ram, going to go, hopefully, link up with Cooper Cup.
At that point,
And
the defending Super Bowl champs.
yeah, Triple Crown MVP.
Yeah, man.
Um, so yeah, get that call, was super, super happy about that, man. And get down there. And so they were just off a Super Bowl. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the last game is probably played in February. OTA starts sometime in, mid-April. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you are the best team in the league, you get 2 months off.
Yeah.
So we get to OTAs and like the guys, the starters aren't really doing anything. So like the twos are the ones and the threes are the twos. So I walked in and got reps. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. Let me back up. I was the only rookie receiver that the Rams brought in. Undrafted,
Wow.
drafted. It was just me. So I'm in there and I'm getting reps, learning the playbook.
That makes
Guys
a
are really
difference.
helping.
That makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
guys are really helping me out. Cooper was a tremendous help during that OTA period. Like he would stand there with the script, call out the play, make sure I know my assignment, where I'm lining up at. And so like to me that was really cool to get, it's the Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Bowl MVP. So for him to be holding my hand the way he was during OTAs, like, that was awesome for me.
Yeah.
But then you get to camp and man, all of that went away. Not just Cooper, but just like, you know,
Yeah.
guys out there, they're trying to win every single
Hey,
day.
you got to
And
kill.
yeah, so I don't mean to just call out Cooper there. But yeah, so we get there and I'm watching all these other rookies, that are drafted, different positions. They're getting reps at practice. And like for me, my practice ended after routes on air.
Mhm.
We started with special teams, do the drill, do the unit, go to, your receiver indie, and then go do routes or ball security, receiver indie, and then routes on air. And then for the most part, bro, I didn't get reps for the first 2, 3 weeks of camp.
Wow.
And so like my practice was all mental, bro. I'm standing
Yeah.
there next to the assistant coach, having him call out the play. I'm trying to, visually line up where I'm going, what's on each side. And then they started implementing some like rookie periods where it was, rookies on rookies, and I was balling in some of those periods, like
Yeah.
there was probably three receivers over there, and we're going 16 plays straight, a 7-on-7, and it's like,
Dead
hey,
time.
I know you guys are tired, but like this is the only reps you guys have gotten in weeks. So like I was, loving it, let's go, give me 10 seconds, but let's go.
Yeah.
So didn't get a lot of action during camp actually. And then we get to that first preseason game, and on all the other teams I've been on for camp and preseason, we've had at least like 7 or 8 receivers play. So it's kind of hard to, figure out reps, and you might play in the third quarter, fourth quarter, but my rookie year there was 4 of us,
Hmm.
and that fourth guy rotated at slot. So I got every single rep at outside for the 3 games.
Wow.
That's
And so
dope.
going out there and coach is telling me, it's like, just let loose, like, you really have nothing to lose, you
Yeah.
know. for the most part, no one's counting you in. And so, it's just go out there and have fun and, prove everyone wrong. And so to go out there in that first game, bro, the first NFL game under the lights, got the jersey on, like to have the success I did and to win, like that
Yeah.
was, man, that was unbelievable.
Yeah. Man, that is a dope story. Like, A, Sean McVay believes in the big sky. I love it, right? He believes in the big sky. B, kind of your collaboration or getting to work with Cooper, I don't think
The
it's a
Big Sky
surprise.
legend.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody would argue that he's probably the best receiver to ever play in the big sky. And I'm so glad the Seattle Seahawks have him. But just also like how it worked out in your favor, right? Like to be on a team where you said there's only 4 guys that are there, you're gonna get the reps, man. What a blessing. And I think that maybe lent itself to some of your longevity and getting more opportunities
Definitely.
beyond just the
A
Rams.
thousand percent.
Yeah. What are kind of the biggest adjustments you had to make once you got to that next level?
Oh man, one, the playbook. The playbook, them NFL playbooks are no joke. Like, you might have your little one word concepts in college where like I've always used the example we had to play bag. The B in bag is on one side, the G in bag is for the other side. That's the play.
Wow.
And you get to the league and it's like you might have a pre-snap motion, the formation, the motion, the long pass play, and then you have a can with another play and like to hear the huddle or to be in the huddle and have the QB say it once, ready, break, and you gotta go. Like
You're like,
when I tell you I was grinding that playbook in the hotel, like I was really grinding it, bro.
yeah.
That's sick.
Wow. That's crazy.
And, and you get to play with Matt Stafford. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
MVP,
Oh yeah, I mean the
one of
list
the
of
greatest
players
arms.
that I was fortunate to be teammates with, bro, is insane. I could go. Have a list of at least 10 guys on 5 different teams of just big name, just guys you grew up watching in college or, in their long NFL career to be able to be teammates with them, bro. Like, I'm more than blessed for that.
Did you have any like starstruck moments? Because at that point, like you're on the team with freaking Aaron Donald, bro. Like, what are we
Bro,
talking
one,
about, bro?
yes,
Like,
yes. So I will walk in there. Um, Being there after they won the Super Bowl, I think made it a little worse for me. So to be
yeah,
in there with Cooper, Stafford, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, my guy Van Jefferson.
yeah,
I mean, the list goes on and on, bro, about guys that I played with, and I was for sure starstruck at first being in the huddle with Stafford and Cooper.
yeah. Man, that's crazy. Dylan Cook told me a story about how he was on the team when the Steelers. He's on the Steelers, obviously, and they had Justin Fields and they had Mitchell Trubisky at one point. And Cook grew up a huge Bears fan, so he's like in this limbo
Yeah,
of like,
see,
how do I not fan out? But also, like, I'm supposed to protect these guys at the same time. Like,
exactly.
I grew up
Yeah.
idolizing y'all boys, man. Like,
I forgot Allen Robinson was there my rookie year.
oh
Yeah.
man,
A
Penn
great
State,
receiver I grew up watching, bro, and to be in the
Penn
same room
State,
with him,
bro.
I'm like, yeah, it,
Yeah.
wa- it was a little weird at first, but then after a couple days, whatever, you kind of get over that like starstruck barrier, and it's
Yeah.
just like you see that these guys are regular dudes,
Yeah.
and they're your teammates now.
It's the
Yeah.
same locker room talk as it was in college. Maybe guys just
Hmm.
got a little bit deeper pockets.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you had a welcome to the NFL moment? Like, what was that moment where you maybe took a big hit? Or, I mean, I don't know. I think it can be different for a bunch of different guys, but do you feel like you had a welcome to the NFL moment?
Yeah, I've actually always thought about this question, seeing, guys share their stories. I think mine was just the getting there in camp my rookie year and realizing that even though you're on the team, it doesn't mean anything, in
Yeah,
camp. Like,
man.
yes, you might have a jersey, you might have a helmet, but like just because you're there, you are not guaranteed anything. And I'm looking at it like, okay, there's other undrafted guys in different positions. Yes, there's obviously your drafted guys, they're getting reps at practice, and it's like I'm a part of this rookie class too. So it's like, where's my burn at? Like I'm trying
Yeah.
to get out there and show you guys what I can do too. So I would say, kind of a different perspective than these other welcome to the NFL stories, but I would say just getting there and just being like, man, like just having the jersey isn't enough.
Facts. Facts. And Maury always told me, Maury from his freshman year, because you guys are the same class. He told me, and I was the same class, but obviously I didn't go to the NFL. But he told me a story about like during his rookie year. Obviously, he was a 7th round draft pick, and like he said, they brought in receivers nearly like weekly to work out. And he said that was like trippy to see. Like, yo, like, am I not
Oh
good enough?
yeah,
Like they're bringing in guys
but
every day.
every day, every week, they're bringing in someone to maybe replace you. Like you are never safe, bro. I had a coach, actually my receiver coach in LA. His thing was you can never be too high or too low. Like things are going good. You can never feel untouchable because the next day
Facts.
you could be gone,
Yeah,
and then vice versa. You could be gone. You're in the dumps. The next day you get a phone call. So it's like you can never be too high on them high moments. And you can never be too low on the lows, man.
how did you deal with the mental toll that takes on you? That like, hey, these guys are coming in. Like, how did you stay focused on what you had to focus on, despite them bringing in somebody to maybe replace you?
I mean, you know how it goes. If you start overthinking, like you're just gonna perform worse. Like if
Yeah,
you're if you're going out there scared to catch a ball, saying, "Oh, like oh, I hope I catch this," you're never gonna catch it. So
absolutely,
I try to go out there every day and it's just like, hey, you know what? This is the NFL. It's a business. They're gonna bring in who they're gonna bring in, and you have no say. The only thing you can do is go out there every day and just show them that, hey, you can be here and you are good enough to be here.
absolutely.
Dang. This one is not on our list of questions, but I just realized it. Um, Grew up in Bozeman, went to school at Montana State, Bozeman High School, obviously. Your first time living outside of Bozeman was LA. What was that like?
Crazy, bro. Crazy. I'm glad you asked that, bro. That was a culture shock for me, for real. Like you
What is
guys
the
know how it
craziest
goes.
thing?
For me, it was just the highways, dog.
Traffic,
You
I
got
five, crazy.
you got
Yeah,
I-90 that goes all the way through Montana, and it's 2 lanes, it's 4 lanes out there, and you go down there in LA and you got six on one side,
that
And
is
they're all
crazy.
packed.
all packed. Everyone's flying. The speed limit says 65, and you're going 65, but you're getting passed left and right. You don't know if you should be hauling ass or going slow. And I had never heard of the carpool lane or the HOV lane.
Man, we don't
That
have that
is
in Oklahoma
crazy.
either. We don't
So
have that
you're
in
seeing
Oklahoma
you're
either.
seeing signs, and it's like cars with two or more people in it. It's like, what's the big deal? Like, if I'm just going all the way through the city, why can't I be in this far lane?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's dope. And you know what's funny is like we as Grizz players or even people from Missoula talk about Bozeman like, oh, it's Bose Angeles, right? It's swanky, but like it's different when you get to LA and you're like,
Oh yeah, when you
whoa.
go from Los Angeles to Los Angeles, bro, it was crazy for me. Like I won't even lie, it was different.
Yeah, man.
that's
Well,
crazy,
cool.
bro.
Well, I'm glad you got that experience because I don't know, that seems like a really, really big stark difference of a change from Bozeman to LA.
Oh
So,
yeah, no, you're not wrong, bro. To be here
um,
my entire life, dog, and then to go to one of the biggest cities in the world was
yeah,
unbelievable.
good Mexican food, I'd imagine, though.
Great food down there. Great
Yeah,
everything food down there.
What
nice.
about the weather though? How was that a different change? Because obviously you grew up in winters are every year. Ain't got no winter in California. What was
No
that? What was
snow,
that like?
dog. That was awesome. No snow.
Ooh.
Mostly sunshine every day. I mean, it was cool, bro. Like I'm telling
You
you,
like the
I
cold
grew up
weather?
on I used to be really good with it. And then I
Okay.
went to LA, and ever since leaving Montana, bro, in 22, like that cold weather hits different, dog. Like I still
Oh.
haven't got right to it.
Dang. So you played in SoFi, right? Obviously, an amazing stadium experience. You played in Bobcat Stadium, amazing stadium experience. Do you have a stadium experience in the NFL that stood out to you most?
Yeah. Rookie year, Monday Night Football in about December, Rams versus Packers, bro, in Lambeau. Like when you talk about like when you think of the NFL, like I feel like the
I
Packers
was
are
at
just
that
one of them
game. I
teams.
forgot you were on the team. I was at that game.
The Packers are just one of them teams, bro. And so to be there in that stadium and that environment, Monday Night Football in December, bro, like it was cold as hell. It was probably single digits that game.
Yeah.
And but just to be there with like their fans, their fan base, bro, like they are dedicated and they are committed to the Packers. And I would probably say that was by far the best environment I've been in.
That's so.
Or playing in Arrowhead. I would
Mm,
say playing in that Chiefs Stadium is pretty sick too.
yeah, they
Wow,
pack it out. They're loud too.
Hmm.
that's crazy. What was the biggest what was the difference of the speed of the game for you from going from college to the NFL? Because people always talk about the speed of the game is drastically different. What was that like for you?
I mean, you think about when you're in camp, bro, at Montana or Montana State, you are most likely the best guy out there on the field, and you might
Yeah.
get your mismatches, where oh, one side of the field is someone really good, but you might have, a bum on the other side. But like there's no bums in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's the best of the best. So it's like you throw in account the playbook, the speed, everyone's faster. Again, I'm not the fastest guy. So like I really got to work on getting open. You feel me? I'm not just gonna use my
Yeah.
speed to run past everyone. So
Yeah.
when I say speed of the game, that's kind of more what I'm thinking. But I would say the playbook, speed, and just like guys are smart. Like they're in the NFL too. They're pros too. They're getting paid more than what you are. And like I would go going out there with Jalen Ramsey every day, and for him to run my route for me on certain plays, bro, and come back and ask and be like, hey, is there something I did that told you? And he's like, it's all concepts. Like I've been playing this game long enough. I know what happens if you're here and this guy's here, inbreaker, outbreaker, whatever it was. But I mean, to play against vets, best of the best guys, and Jalen being one of them, like, you're not just gonna get open off of your athletic ability that you've been doing your whole life. This
Yeah.
is when it really comes down to like that skill and technique.
I mean, just think about how much film that guy has watched and how many routes he's had to cover. I mean, it's like,
Hmm.
yo, man, that's crazy.
That's why
Yeah.
he's getting paid the way he's getting paid,
Hmm.
right? um, what is something about the NFL lifestyle that people misunderstand?
I would say speaking on someone in like my position, wasn't this, huge multi-million-dollar guy. You're not as bred as up as you think you would. After you go through some guys have an off-season home, you have your in-season home. So, you have your double expenses for your car, your house. Being a practice squad guy for all these years, I only got paid during the season. So I get 18 weeks of checks, and you won't see a salary check until September if you make the team. So it's like, yeah, that number looks real good on paper, but once you throw in taxes and then all of your expenses and your training and you know, going from Montana to LA, you're gonna go spend a little money, go out shopping and whatnot. So it's just like, yeah, that money looks real good on paper, but for someone in my position, like, yeah, it was more money than I've ever seen in my life. Don't get me wrong, but you're not as breaded up as I would say as you think you are.
Man.
Yeah. And relative to the locker room, it's like you know, I don't want to say keep up with the Joneses, but like you want to at least dress somewhat nice, right? So you're gonna go get something, whereas Jalen might walk in head to toe LV, and you're like, buddy, I'm not doing that. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm trying to
rocking
find I'm trying to get a pair of jeans and a
that.
jacket or something.
Yeah, man. No, that people don't get it, dude, and they just think, oh, well, you were in the NFL, you're loaded, and it's like, no, that's just not how
No,
it works.
yeah,
That's
it's
not
not like
realistic.
that.
So we got a few more here, but for FCS players watching this, what's the biggest thing they need to know about making the jump from FCS to the NFL?
You can do it. I mean, it's possible. Just because you're at a smaller school, lower level, I mean, you look at every year, there's always some FCS player who is having some sort of a huge impact on their team. Like just because we're at this level, just because you're at your school, man, like it's possible. If you put in the work, you have the belief in yourself, you have the support system around you, it's possible.
And shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for realizing that two of our top three receivers happen to come from the FCS. Shout out to Big Sky, Rashid Shaheed, and Cooper Cup. Thank you.
Anti-Okada.
And Ty
Shout out
Okada.
Ty
No,
Okada.
The
look,
big
I,
sky.
I was telling Sam this,
And
right?
Pat
He's like,
O'Connell,
oh,
you're tripping. You're
no,
tripping.
no. Sam's saying, oh, man, what are you guys going to do? You guys lost Kobe Bryant. I said, Oh, you don't know our up and coming prospect that's going to just replace Kobe Bryant, Ty Okada? Come on, dog.
Come on, they
You gotta
call him Tyrone
recognize.
out there.
They call him
Tyrone.
Tyrone. That is hilarious. No, that is the soundbite that we need. That is hilarious. They call him Tyrone. I might have to get a jersey with Tyrone Okada on the back. So, what does Montana State mean to you now that your playing career is over? Like, is it, you think you're going to be around? Obviously, they're coming off the national championship. Willie has already told me kind of hurts because it should have been us. But do you want to be around the program a little bit now more that you're back in Bozeman?
I kind of got mixed feelings about it. So actually, when I was here between Pittsburgh and Tennessee picking me up, I went in and actually helped out in the receiver room for a couple weeks just to do something, bro.
Yeah.
Just to be around the game, be around some of the guys, help out, where I could and as best I could. But now that I'm done, it's like, I got a 1 year old. Um, as a player, you're gone a lot, but you know how coaches are, man. They don't leave that building, and
Yeah.
I have zero interest in doing that right now. So I think down the road, I definitely want to get into coaching, but as in the next like 5 years, I don't think so.
Good for
So
you
talk a
for
little
having
bit
that
about that. Talk a
realization.
little bit about that. What is next for you? Done with football. What are you kind of thinking? Obviously, I'm sure you probably want to take a little bit of time off, but like, what are you thinking in terms of what your next steps will be?
I'm sure some kids in Bozeman
Uh,
could get some skill development work from Lance McCutcheon.
yeah, that's actually the biggest thing right now. Kind of making some plays about that, getting some numbers and whatnot, working with another player. Cleveland Thomas, CT.
Yep,
I actually didn't play with him, but
I saw him
he's
race.
done.
Race. What's the name? Taco.
Oh, who won that?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. It was like they raced like 3 or 4 times. I
I'm
think it
gonna
was
say
like 2-1.
Taco.
I think it was like
Taco's
two
my
one Cleveland.
guess.
Yeah.
But gonna get doing some training with him because Bozeman doesn't have that.
Yeah,
I think Montana doesn't have it.
Nope.
yeah,
Nope.
So I think I can offer some really good, skill training, not just receiver training. If you want to catch a ball, work on some footwork, whatever, that's kind of my goal. Um, but I think I really want to get into some kind of sales job, whether that's med sales, something.
hey,
I've been reaching out a little bit. Haven't really put anything into play like that
yeah.
yet, but reaching out, texting, making some phone calls with some of the connections I do have, but. Again, I really have no interest in getting a job right now, if I'm being real.
Yeah. I
Facts. I love
understand,
the
man. I
honesty.
understand.
Don't rush into it. Do not rush into it. It is not all it's cracked up to be. But med device, like I work in that space, and it can be
Greg
very
too.
fruitful.
He's a good resource.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Yeah.
It could be a really good, fruitful life. And you're charismatic. You could talk to people, and the people of Montana, if you serve that state, they know who you are, and so you'll fit in really well. There was times where I
Yeah.
had to cover Billings, and it was like they're like, "Oh, wait, your name sounds familiar. Like, did you play for one of the schools?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, a couple years ago." So, you'd be good at it, man.
Buy my
Yeah, thank you.
devices.
I really I've never been big about like benefiting from my name and my image, but I think trying to, it's about money now. Like if I'm being honest, it's about making some money
Yeah,
and it's about my son and my wife now. So
yeah,
like um this is really why I moved back here. Be able to take advantage of my connections, take advantage of, what my name means out here.
for
And I
sure,
really hate to say it that way, but um yeah, I think being back here to some kind of sales job, take advantage of, what my name and my face can bring me.
for sure, bro. You built a legacy for a reason. You might as well use it, right? Like all those times where you were grinding and you weren't getting the um I don't know, the limelight, right? That the work was for. Like you said, Choate said, what you did in the dark is come to the light. So I don't know, Sam just dropped off or whatever. But that's what you worked for. You worked to be in this position, to provide for your family. And why not go back to your roots and do it? So I'm in favor of that. Our last question, he'll probably pop back on. But if you could relive one moment in your Montana State career, what would it be?
Dang. One moment. That's a real good question, bro.
Makes you think about all of them, right?
Yeah, literally. Um, all right, I got two for you. My first
Perfect.
one, my first one in that 21 natty against North Dakota State. I dropped two fade balls back to back.
Mm,
And like that is something, bro, that is just like that just lives in me, dog.
yeah,
So
I hear
yeah,
that.
I would say them two balls I wish I could get back. I don't know. I'm not saying that changed the outcome of the game,
Yeah,
but to be relied on so much throughout the season and then to go into that game when we need a play and to get the play twice in a row and to have it off the hands twice in a row, like man, that hurts.
for sure, bro. And I feel that like that's we all want to go back and change those moments, but they also build our character and they built everything else that you became in the
Yeah,
game of football, man. Because
for
just like,
sure.
oh, I never want to feel that feeling again. So, um,
And then I would say my next one would be probably my scoring my first touchdown, and that
mm,
was at Montana State as well.
okay. What was that play? Take us through that play.
So I don't know if you got you might remember it. We used to have a couple plays called where like if we needed something, we line up two receivers at the boundary
Mm,
and run double fade balls. We're
mm.
throwing the outside no matter what. If it's dropped or not completed, whatever, we are rotating in a fresh two receivers and we are running the exact same play. So I want to say in 2018 against y'all, I was the first receiver to go, didn't catch it, and then Travis Johnson went and he caught the one that was like inside the 10 or
Yeah,
the 15 or something. I don't know if you remember the play, but
yeah,
we used to call it DC. I forget what it stood for, but I was the second receiver my freshman year where we went out, ball was incompleted, that tired ass corner comes running back, and I
yeah.
just had a, fresh legs, free go ball, and I ended up going past him and scored.
That's sick. Yeah, I love that. I love taking us through your first touchdown because that's I'll never forget mine too. It's like 75-yard bomb from Brady Gustafson against St. Francis in 2016. And it was just like, wow. You just go back and you're like, dang, that's crazy. But Sam, any more questions? I asked if you could relive one moment
Nah, sorry, man. My
in your
connection
Montana State
completely just
career.
crapped
But
out.
I know
So
you,
I apologize.
yeah, that's living in, what is it?
Alberton.
Where do you live,
Alberton. You know
Sam?
where Alberton is, Lance?
That's in living in Alberton.
No, I thought you were gonna say the grocery store.
No. So you know where Frenchtown is. It's right outside Frenchtown. It's like there's like 600
That's
people in the
crazy.
town. I can't wait to get out of here. Our connection is terrible. It's been windy. Has it been windy in
Sam's the only
Bozeman
black
today
guy
for
with
you guys?
dreads.
I believe it. Oh, it's windy as hell.
Yeah, yeah, man. I can't
Oh,
wait.
Sam's the only black guy with dreads. You can see him from a mile away in Alberton.
Alberton. I don't know if I've ever heard of Alberton
Oh
you,
yeah.
before.
you're not missing much,
So
brother.
it's
You're not
like
missing much.
Missoula,
Sam,
Frenchtown,
you went
Alberton, Superior, St. Regis, and then basically you get to the border after that.
Ronan
Ronan is on the
or
res.
not
What are you
Ronan? What's
talking
the
about?
little what what's the one with the Huckleberry Shakes? The
Polson. You're
like
thinking
truck
of
stop
Polson.
on the way to Seattle.
No, not Polson.
No, I'm not thinking of Polson. Polson's up by the res too.
Whitefish?
No, it's like you're going through I-90 and there's a little truck stop right before you're leaving Montana to go to Idaho.
Wallace and
And I don't
Wallace.
know the name of it. Maybe
Hmm.
could be it. I used to always stop there. But Sam, you want to ask a question about what do you say to you know? Actually, I'll ask it. Um, I'll ask it because you don't know what I'm
I
talking
know.
about. What would what what would Lance McCutcheon say to the young kid from Montana growing up that wants to be in the NFL or wants to play at Montana State? Kind of what word of advice do you have for that kid?
Man, I would say just trust yourself, man. Um, Trust all the hard work and the little grind sessions, the staying late after practice, the route sessions, the ladder work. Just stay true to yourself, stay true to the process, and again, what's done in the dark will always come to light eventually. It might not come on your terms or when you want it to, but sometime it is going to come. And when it does, like, you gotta be ready for it and take full advantage of it.
Yeah,
That's a bar.
it's a bar.
That's a
It's a
bar.
bar. Well, that is
So,
Deep Ball. We appreciate
well,
you being on, man. Thank you so much for joining us, bro. I know me and you have been communicating for a minute.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. It was good talking to
Yeah,
y'all.
man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. We wish you all the luck in your future endeavors. Hopefully, we run into each other out here in Montana, and we'll catch you down the road, brother.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.